Notice, in accordance with the new copyright regulations, this episode of Quoth Raven is intended for ages 16 and up, while some of the content will feature is kid-friendly. The context of the episode is to address adults and inform them of said content within the researchers, consumers, in service of their youth. In other words, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, teachers, librarians, etc. There is sometimes the possibility of adult language present on the episode as well, rated TV 16 and up. Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Quoth the Raven. Lewis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 28-year veteran of comics, science fiction, fantasy, and horror, and role-playing games as a writer, illustrator, and editor, and talent scout. And this is our regular Monday show. That means it's time for comics reviews. Try and put the week off to a good start. So let's get started. We start with Batman's Greatest Adventures trade paperback from DC Comics from $9.99. Writers are Callie Puckett and Ty Templeton, with artist Rich Burkett and Mike Parabeck. Genre superhero. It was originally released in September 2017. And what it's about, they say it's the best of Batman's adventures and trials are here in Batman's Greatest Adventures, an all-ages anthology graphic novel, collecting some of the most popular DC animated universe stories of the Batman. Including stories from Batman Adventures number 3, Batman Adventures number 11, Batman Adventures 19, Batman and Robin Adventures 4, Batman Beyond number 1, and the Batman Strikes number 6. Ages 10 and up. I rated it 4 stars. With the anthology book, I thought I had the book right here. I must have put it away. I didn't do all the graphics this week for that book, but because it's rated from so many different titles that they put this collection together. I don't know if they're the greatest stories, but it's a good collection that's appropriate if you want to buy something quick for a young reader for Batman. That you don't have to worry about being inappropriate or anything that might be a little more risque, which more modern Batman's gotten a little more adult oriented. So it's a good book for the kids. Again, 4 out of 5 stars. Somebody said something. A friend of mine just got his vaccination and he's driving back home now. Maybe when he gets home, he might show up on in the chat. He might not. We'll see. Anyway, next book is Deep Beyond number 2 for $3.99. Publishers Image Comics. The writers are Mirka Andolfo and David Goy, with artist Andrea Riccardo. The genre is science fiction horror. Released March 10th, 2021. And what it's about: Paul hasn't recovered from the mysterious Jolene's shocking resemblance to his ex-wife Pamela. And for the meek and fearful scientists, the situation is already getting worse. The scary sea monsters who rush them seem to be unbeatable. Will they find a way to survive? Outside help will be needed, and luckily they will make some new friends who will help them survive. But in the meantime, Pam is still trapped in the deep ocean. Ages 16 up, I gave it 3.5 stars. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. And here's some of the interior artwork. This is a quick 2-page spread with Jolene and Paul running away from one of those monsters aforementioned. Looks interesting. Overall, it's just for issue number 2, it's going, there's a lot of action going on in this episode, a lot of action in the issue rather, and at the same time it feels like we're going nowhere. It's kind of a weird paced story in a way, but we'll see. And I think other critics have also said the same thing. That's kind of why I gave it a 3.5. It was like it could be better. Quoth the Pulp Culture Adventure. Hello at Quoth the Raven. Lewis Bright Raven working and listening. And Batman book looked good. What are you working on, Pulp Culture? Avenger. Or I might call you PCA. Nah, I call you Avenger. Let's go on to the next book. It's Homesick Pilots, number 4, $3.99. And Image Comics is the publisher. Writer is Dan Waters with art by Casper Wingard. Genre science fiction horror, March 10th, 2021. What it's about: ghost enemies force Amy on the run, and the house that she's been trapped in, it's like a haunted house that possesses her after they kill her, sends her friends Buzz to her to protect her from a wickedly unique monster, an entity that is connected to a VHS tape that makes crazy tape monsters out of itself. And we see there are ghost hunters of a different type, hunters who are nasty types in their own right. It's not bad. I just wish they'd stop with the full black pages with text or very little anything on it. The printing is for crap. It ruins the book for me because I keep thinking that there's like printing defects on the book, but it's not a printing defect. It's just the way the print is on the paper, but it kind of ruins the book for me. And there's 3 of them in this issue, 3 pages like that, which is more than enough to knock the book at least half a point for that alone. As former tour readers, I gave it 3.5 stars. And that's kind of being generous. It should really be a 3. But Avenger says he's a lab tech in a copper mill. Okay, interesting. But yeah, it's not the worst comic. I just wish the printing was a little bit better on it. Here's some of the artwork. Now, these pages are nice. These came out okay. They're in Santa Manos, California. The tape monsters kill the ghost, and someone else there is Amy, and she's running, and then there's the tape monster. It's kind of like this entity of videotapes. And then it just reconditions itself and wraps itself around. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what that is. A road sign and a, yeah. I can't think of the name of it. Coin machine that you put in for your parking meter. Parking meter, that's what I was trying to think of. So that's what that is. And it just builds up an even bigger tape monster wrapped in with a whole bunch of other stuff. And the house has to send one of her friends in a different form to protect her. Our next book is Marvel Essentials, Marvel 2-in-1 with the Thing, Volume 1 trade paperback for $16.99. Publisher is Marvel. Writers are various. Artists are various. It includes writers like Steve Gerber and Chris Claremont and Roy Thomas and Bill Mantlo. Artists like Jim Starlin, Gil Kane, Sal Buscema, Ron Milson, and others. Genre is superhero. ISBN number 978-0785-117292. And what it's about: it collects Marvel Feature 11 and 12, Marvel 2-in-1 number 1 and 20, and 22 through 25 and Annual 1, Marvel Team-Up 47 and Fantastic Four Annual 11. It's nearly 600 pages of crazy 1970s and 80s adventures of the powerhouse of the Fantastic Four, the ever-loving Blue-Eyed Thing. Yay! Whether he's battling against the Hulk, as we can see on the cover, or teaming up with any number of Marvel heroes, it's a fun trip down memory lane. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I recommend it for ages 10 and up. It is all black and white material on the inside for the Marvel Essentials. I don't know if they're ever going to reprint these things in color because it is 1970s, and early 80s, where a lot of the coloring is flat. And I don't know if they really want to do the modernized coloring. A lot of people complain when they do that. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't type thing. Marvel 2-in-1 from my era. I love the Silver and Bronze Age. Absolutely. It's pretty much the only stuff from Marvel I read. If I do read Marvel these days, is Silver and Bronze. Belboo says, hey. All right. Hello, Belboo. Norse Mythology, number 6, $3.99, publisher by Dark Horse. Writers Neil Gaiman and P. Craig Russell. Artist is Jill Thompson with a cover by P. Craig Russell and Galen Shulman. Genre is mythology fantasy, released March 10th, 2021. And what it's about. Loki has found out that Thrym of the Ogres has stolen Thor's hammer Mjolnir and hidden it deep inside the earth where not even Odin can retrieve it. The price to recover the hammer, the goddess Freya's hand in marriage to Thrym. Uh-oh. Freya's not going to like that. But Loki has a plan. Dress Thor up as Freya and trick Thrym into bringing the hammer to them. But will Loki's plan work? Or will both he and Thor end up being Asgardian pastries in the Ogre's wedding banquet? For ages 13 and up, I recommend it and I give it a rating of 4 out of 5 stars. Here's some of the artwork for it. And this is Loki arriving in using Freya's wings to transform him into a falcon. And he meets Thrym. And they kind of makes it clear that, I want to marry Freya. And he's like, okay, we can figure out some sort of arrangement. He goes back. He tells Thor what's what. And I love this, this line. What's the price? Freya's hand in marriage. Just her hand? So it's kind of funny in that line, but they cover up Thor in the outfit, and then Loki transforms himself into a female handmaiden, which you kind of wonder, why didn't you just transform and do a glamour on Thor to make him look like Freya? But whatever. It was a fun story. Our next book is Resident Alien. Your rides here. Number 4 of 6, $3.99. Publisher Dark Horse, writer Peter Hogan, and artist Steve Parkhouse. The genre is a science fiction thriller. It was released March 10th, 2021, and as you can see, it says now a sci-fi original series on the cover, because anything that gets picked up by sci-fi has to have their stuff plastered all over the cover nowadays. Resident Alien has always benefited from juxtaposing its strangest elements to the realities of Americans' life. It's this approach that allows the story to be both exciting and perfectly commonplace. What's going on? Basically, he's about ready to leave Earth in this story, but a child has been kidnapped and he has to help the locals find the kid. I don't know why that segment wasn't in the text here, but that's what's going on. Thus, his courage and will are thus made more potent because they are framed in very human terms. This also raises the stakes for his impending decision, which is made more difficult by his responsibilities to those who know nothing about what is coming, meaning the new aliens that are going to be coming, picking him up, and maybe even destroying Earth, depending on what you remember from the storyline prior or what you've been watching on sci-fi. With only 2 issues left in the entire series, attention and anticipation of what is to come next is palpable. Recommended for ages 16 and up. 16 and up, rating 4 stars out of 5. Let's look at the art. I like the way he's got the stairs drawn and the motion and the extended, hyper extended point of perspective on the figure for Doc. and he's realized that somebody's around that knows potentially, who he is or what he is, and he has to move and get out of the area before they figure out that, he's not human. And he explains that Marcy was a different character that had been knocked out in an earlier issue, was attacked, and knocked out by some sort of gas, and he thinks that it was. He can't tell her what he thinks it is, and then he finds out that the girl's been abducted after the wedding that they just had, so they're trying to find her, and he's like, "Oh crap! Whoever abducted this kid's probably trying to use her as bait to get to me." Mm-hmm. Our next book is Sea of Stars, number 9, number 3 for $3.99. Publishers Image Comics, writers Jason Aaron and Dennis Hallam, artist Stephen Green with colors by Rico Renzi. It's genre science fiction, released March 10th, 2021. And what it's about: Caden is coerced by Zagala, a smooth-talking shaman of the Zaztec tribe, who promises to help train the boy how to use his powers to find his father. Meanwhile, Gil, his father, and Caden's alien friends are still searching for him, and Gil is struggling to keep a hold of his sanity. Ages 13 and up, reading 3 out of 5 stars. Here's where Zagala is like saying, "Well, no, I can train you. I can train you." And he's saying, "No, you just want to take my powers for yourself." But like I said, he's really just a smooth talking guy who's trying to get what he wants out of the kid. And Stargazer, number 6 of 6, $3.99, Mad Cave Studios. Writer Anthony Cleveland, artist Antonio Fuso, colorist Stefano Simeone, genre science fiction, released March 10th, 2021. What it's about: after years of not knowing, Shay and her friends finally come face to face with the hive mind aliens that first affected their lives 2 decades ago. And everything they thought had happened gets turned upside down. Can they stop the hive mind before it overtakes the Earth? And if so, at what costs? I don't want to give it away. This is the last issue of the series. I did figure out what the author was going to do last issue, but the pacing and presentation of the work does give it a solid conclusion to the story. I don't have any real complaints about it. It's recommended for ages 16 and up, 4 out of 5 stars. And that is our reviews for this week, ladies and gentlemen. We have one more thing to show, and that is what's coming up next week. For some of the stuff we're reviewing for next week, that's what's coming on Wednesday, actually. And that will be Bequest number 1. I think it's Dose number 2, Origins number 5, Orphan and the Five Beasts number 1. It's Brapanaut's First Blood trade paperback collection through Black Caravan / Scout Comics, and They Fell from the Sky number 2. These will be books that I will show you guys that I did get them. Actually, I don't know if I'm getting Brapanaut's because it's actually a reprint of stuff I've already got. But we'll still talk about Brapanaut's and what it's about on next week's show on Monday. And I will show you that I did get the other books as long as they come in at my store on Wednesday. So what else is going on this week? Funny you should ask. Normally on Mondays, we have comic news and reviews. Wednesdays is what did you get this week? Hold on a second, got a question. That cover you were drawing, when will that be available? Indiegogo campaign. I'm not really sure. I don't know if it's going to even be a cover. It might just be a pinup. That's up to Michael, the creator of the book. It won't be for a while, though, because it'll be the next book that gets solicited, and he hasn't fulfilled his first issue yet. So it'll probably appear in issue number 2. Now, we'll get back to that as soon as we can. Hopefully, I can get a better idea from Michael soon, and I can give you a better answer on that in the future. Thank you for the question. Wednesdays is what did you get this week? That's when I'm going to show you what I bought from the comic shop, and hopefully some of you will tell me what you got. And if not, I'm going to change the format soon in April for what I do on Wednesdays. Thursdays is our roundtable talk when I have a guest or more and we have topical discussion. This week has not been determined just yet. Fridays is usually our genre night, 9 p.m. Each week a different genre, sometimes with guests, sometimes solo. This week, we're not so much doing genre. We're just going to do a theme of our favorite comic book covers. John Norse and others will be joining me. And we'll be just talking about our favorite comic book covers and why they're our favorites. No, thank you, Avenger. So, that's what's going on for this week so far. So if you want to reach me, you go to lewis.brightraven on Facebook, on Twitter at lewisbrightrave2, deviantart.com/brightraven, YouTube, Quoth the Raven, Lewis Brightraven, Gmail, quothravenlbr72@gmail.com, or on Yahoo at lewisbrightraven.com. We will see you guys on Wednesday. Until then, have a good week.